Hey, welcome to my channel. Tony here, Tony's LPs Are Us. We're in the E studio with Elvis. We have the Elvis light lit, so we're rolling. This is just an announcement, but it's a sad announcement. Heard last night. Actually, I heard yesterday afternoon, but I didn't get my records together to do this tribute to the great guitar player, legendary Rick Derringer. Um, Rick Derringer played with so many people. And if you wait till the end of this video, which is what people usually say on these videos, but this isn't a long video, he played on some crazy records as far as different genres that you would never expect. A rock and roller, hoochie coochie man, Rick Derringer, the glam guy who played with, on Frankenstein, the Edgar Winter Band, and all that other good stuff. Started out with the McCoys for Hang On Sloopy. Was originally supposed to be more of a love song, and it evolved into Hang On Sloopy. I think it was supposed to be Hang On Girl or Hang On Girlfriend, or things like that. But there's plenty of things written about him now. But there wasn't a lot of internet feeds on Rick Derringer. But people really, Rick Derringer has been around a long time. He was 77 years old. He died on May 26th. I believe he was born in 1947, so he was 77. But I'm going to go through the stuff I have on him, the solo stuff, and then at the end, I'm going to pick things that he was in as guests and producing. He worked with Ringo. He worked on live tours with Ringo's All-Star Band. He played with Steely Dan. He played with Fagen. I'm going to show some of those records, and of course, he played with the Winter Brothers, which is what I knew him for growing up in college and in high school. So this guy started out in the 60s, so he had a really long career. He died in his sleep, they tell us, and it was probably heart failure. He was on life support, so it was a failure that they were able to keep him alive, but then the family decided that, or on doctors' recommendations, whatever, that there wasn't going to be a substantial life in him with the failed heart. Maybe there was no remedy based on his age and his frailty of the heart at that time, so they took him off life support. So unfortunately, Rick Derringer, 77 years old. But I'm going to go through his discography. You'll be surprised at what he was on. I was surprised, and one of them, or two of them, were like kind of shocking. Here you go, Rick Derringer. Derringer is Rick Derringer, Kenny Aronson, and Myron Grumbacher. Rick Derringer, a little Derringer there. Rick Derringer. This is a later album, maybe 84, 85, on Blue Sky Records. Here's the great one with Hoochie Coochie, Rock and Roll Hoochie Coochie, Jump, 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 Uncomplicated, nice gatefold on here. So another sad announcement. Excuse me. These records came from the archives. Here's a nice Western motif with Derringer. This has Vinny Appice on it. He also played with Carmine and Vinny on a record. There was the three of them, Derringer, Appice, and what was his name? Carmine Appice and Rick Derringer, and the other guy from Appice and Bogart. He was with Bogart. So that's a cover there. Here's a... Now, these are records that he played on and records he starred in. Now, here he has one tune with the great Richie Havens, which I was surprised. This is the album Alarm Clock, and on here he is lead guitar on, if I could find it, lead guitar on To Give All Your Love Away. It's on side one. The great late Richie Havens. I met Richie Havens, signed me a few records. Johnny Winter, Alive and Well. produced by Rick. They do Let It Bleed on here. I'm not sure if it's the Stones' Let It Bleed, but we shall see. Rock and Roll is on here. Let It Bleed. Mick Jagger and Keith Richards. So that's worth giving it a shot, right? I don't know these records anymore. I had them since high school. I've had these records for 50 years or so, most of them. Here's another one, produced by Rick. And this is the technical advisor with Shelly Yakis, the great engineer Shelly Yakis. Here we have the Edgar Winter Group. This is more of a glam look. If you could see the back, he was into that glam thing. He was very a petite guy. I think he was about 5'4". Ronnie Montrose is on here as well. He may have produced this record. Let me see if he's even on here. The Edgar Winter Band. I'm sure he had fingerprints on here, maybe not credited. The Edgar Winter Group with produced by Rick Derringer, against Shelly Yakis. Great glam cover. Shock Treatment. Some Kind of Animal, Rock and Roll Woman, Animal, just great stuff. Here's, I think, White Trash. He's on White Trash. He may have produced it, produced by Rick Derringer. So he was more of a producer as well as a legendary guitar player. He could play anything. The sessions he did were legendary. It says here, Rick Derringer plays guitar on Keep Playing That Rock and Roll and guitar solo on Good Morning Music. He also played with Air Supply. I couldn't pull out my Air Supply. He's with a number of people. He's with Bonnie Tyler. Just go down the list. You could look it up. And some of them were very surprising. Here's Shock Treatment, which we showed. Here's another Edgar Winter, produced by Johnny Winter and Rick Derringer. And this has funky music. Rick Derringer plays guitar and vocals. Now, this is a shocker. He's on a few Cyndi Lauper records. He's also on this record, which is the famous True Colors. So Rick is on here. Rick put his fingerprints on a lot of things. His discography is incredible. You could read all about it online, Wikipedia. Also did a lot of work for Hulk Hogan and some of his intros in the WrestleMania and Wrestling Championship bouts that the great Hulk Hogan was involved in. Also, when Tom did songs for the soundtrack of Tom Hanks' Bachelor Party, and like I said, worked with Ringo's All-Star Band. Here's a twofer. This is Edgar Winter Entrance and White Trash. That's a nice twofer. These sound pretty good. They're probably all from the original master tapes from Columbia. This is probably Epic. Let's see that there. I only picked this up for $3 at a closeout. VG Plus. So that was a good deal. Here's another one. Roadwork, Edgar Winter's White Trash, featuring Johnny LaCroix and Rick Derringer. And there's probably Rick Derringer lined up there. Small in stature, but legendary giant in rock and roll. Let's just see one of these labels. Here's a nice Epic label. Now, these are some weird ones, or this is a weird one. He was on this record with Bette Midler. Plays on one or two tracks. So a lot of these you could find in the dollar bin. And now that you know who's on them, they may not be in the dollar bin for long. The last one I'm going to show you, or the last couple, were kind of shocking to me, especially one of them. So you have Rick Derringer. This was recorded in California. So Rick Derringer is on this. Then we have these, I'm surprised. Steely Dan, Countdown to Ecstasy, played guitar on this record. There wasn't a lot of credit on these old Steely Dan records. He is credited, though, slide guitar on Showbiz Kids. Slide guitar. Just an exceptional session guy. Rivals, Glenn Campbell, Jimmy Page, Wrecking Crew people. Just an amazing guy. Katie lied, Big John's favorite Steely Dan record. I found a Japanese copy for John. He was thrilled at a yard sale. The guy was trying to tell me this is a little bit more money because it's a Japanese record with the obi, and I think he charged me, peanuts compared to what I would buy if I had to have it shipped from Japan. So this gives a lot of credit, and Hal Bain is on here from the Wrecking Crew. It's just talking about them. And Rick Derringer, courtesy of Blue Sky Records, he gets a special section on the credits showing his status. Also on this one, which to me is a Steely Dan record, The Great Nightfly, one of the most expensive one-steps, if you could find one now. Great record. This is a great sounding record. These were digital, but you would never know it. It's just intense. It has everything that you would want in an audiophile record. So he was on here, and then he was on this with Johnny Winter and Live. Good Morning Little Schoolgirl, produced by Johnny Winter and Rick Derringer. So he produced quite a bit, and I'm sure I'm missing quite a bit. So if you know stuff that Rick did, please fill out the comments, let me know. And of course, I want to thank everyone for stopping in. This is a weird announcement. I found out through my wife. I didn't even know. And then later on that night, I got a few texts from some of my rock and roll buddies. So I didn't see anything on television. I didn't get any special feeds on my Google or my internet stuff that comes through. None of that. So he was kind of like a forgotten legend, I think. An American boy, all-American boy, rock and roll hoochie coo, right? But rest in peace. They said he was surrounded by his family. May have died of heart failure. I think his heart was weak, so they had him on life support. And at that age, being almost close to 80, 77, close to 80, probably any operation to, get his heart back to some type of strength or some type of vital aspect was not possible. So it's sad. A lot of our rockers are close to 80 now, and some of them are past 80. Now, this is a weird one, and it's Weird Al Yankovic. Now, from what I learned from my research, he produced every Weird Al Yankovic record. And Weird Al Yankovic records, if you're a record collector, these records are very desirable. Maybe they didn't, I'm sure he sold millions, but they're very hard to come by, and they go for pretty much big bucks on the secondary market. Let me see what this is on. This is a mint copy on Rock and Roll Records. That's what that looks like. And the last one was really surprising, and I listened to it, and it's a pretty good song. Actually, this whole album is one that I'm going to listen to, because when I revisited it this morning, when I pulled it from the archives, I found out that there's a lot of rock and roll people on this album, and maybe Barbara wanted to change her reputation. So this is Emotion, and Emotion contains 10 new performances, including the smash hit Left in the Dark. And Left in the Dark is the great song that Rick Derringer's on. So that's pretty cool. So Rick Derringer is on this record. The Pointer Sisters are on this record. And if you go through the credits, you'll see quite a bit of rock and rollers. Jim Steinman, I believe, produced this record from the Meatloaf fame, if I'm pronouncing his John Cougar, You're a Step in the Right Direction. He wrote the music on this. I guess he plays on it. I'm not sure. Jim Steinman is who I'm speaking about. Also, Maurice White from, what's that group? Earth, Wind, and Fire. I'm kind of losing it here. Earth, Wind, and Fire. So this is a great record. Rick Derringer is on a Barbra Streisand album. So pick this up. You could probably find it in the $1 bin or the $5 bin. This still has Shrink. I know I've never played it, but I listened to the song earlier on YouTube, and it rocks out. So it's pretty good. So this is a record that I'm going to now put with my Rick Derringer stuff as a tribute to Rick. And I'm not a real big Barbra Streisand person, but she's unbelievable, unmistakable legend. So that's it. Rest in peace, Rick. I just wanted to put that out there, do a little tribute. Hopefully we'll get some views on this record, on this segment of this great legendary guitar player. Rick Derringer died at age 77 on the 26th of May, 2025. So thanks a lot. Keep rocking. Please subscribe. Please like, and stay well. Let me know what Rick Derringer records that you know he was on, he played on and helped produce and things like that. Cheers.